Hello lovely people, it is the beginning of the month of September, which means it is time for my summer wrap-up and September TBR. I'm really excited to finally get books more involved on this channel, but I've never had the opportunity to because I've never had time. I decided I would start with all the books I read this summer and in the month of August, because, I read a lot of books this summer and I didn't read a whole lot last month. I can't find 2 of the books I read this summer currently, which is very upsetting to me. I read A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams and Shine by Lauren Miracle, which I loved both of those books so much, and I plan on doing a review of Shine later, eventually, maybe. But I read those books, but I won't be showing them to you since I cannot find them. So the first book we have, what is at the bottom of the pile, is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I had to read this for my AP English class, and a lot of people really didn't like it. I really enjoyed this book. It's a nice kind of adventure novel. The language was a little hard to get used to, but once I got into it, it really made the story a lot more interesting. So I'm glad I read that one. My dad read Mark Twain to me, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, when I was a little girl, so I really liked reading this one too. Witch and Wizard by James Patterson, the first in the trilogy, I believe it is. I was really excited to read this book. I've heard lots of good things about it, and I really can't wait to read the graphic novels because they're so pretty. It was a little hard after I read Huckleberry Finn going into such modern English, but once I got used to it, I really enjoyed this book, and I am very glad that I read it. Next we have How to Read Literature Like a Professor by, Thomas C. Foster. Another book I had to read for AP English class. It was more of a kind of research book. But it wasn't that bad. It was really interesting, and I like analyzing literature, so this was a good tool for me. So, read that. Next, we have Michael Crichton's The Andromeda Strain, which I had to read for AP Biology. If you're wondering why I didn't get more read, you probably figured out that it's because I had to read a lot of books for my AP classes. I'm not really into the whole science fiction-y disease world ending kind of thing, but this was a really interesting book. And the ending didn't turn out like I planned, which was kind of interesting. I think I liked it way more than I thought I would. Let's just leave it at that. Next, these 2 books I actually read in the past 2 days, but I'm counting them as August. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, which I've been wanting to read for a long time. When I was little, I watched the Wishbone episode. If you remember Wishbone, he read classic novels, and then he was a part of the novels. It's kind of like abridged versions for kids. I loved that show. I wanted Wishbone to be my dog, but I really enjoyed reading it. I'm glad I did. I didn't really understand a lot of the ship lingo. I just kind of breezed through that because I was like, okay, as long as I know the ship is moving, I think I'm good. And finally, we have The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. My friend actually loaned this to me. He said I would like it a lot. It's very short, novella kind of thing. It ends here, and the rest is literary analysis text. The story is this. It starts off. Let me read the back. When Gregor Samsa woke up one morning from unsettling dreams, he found himself changed in his bed into a monstrous vermin. That's how the story starts, and it's basically how he deals with being a ginormous bug. I assumed he was a bug. It was kind of a depressing little story, but it was good, and I liked it. And it's originally German, so I kind of like reading a translated work. Woohoo! Now, on to the really interesting part. It's what I'm going to read this month, or attempt to read this month. First up we have Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, which I will be reading for the Nerdfighter Book Club. I actually had to read this summer before 9th grade. I read the first part, The Hearth and the Salamander, but now I have to finish the book by Tuesday, actually, so I have to finish that up quick, because I didn't really like it the first time, but reading it again, the language is really beautiful, and I understand it so much better since last time I read it when I was about 13, and now I'm 16, so it's a little easier to understand. Next we have On Writing by Stephen King, which I have to read for AP English. A memoir, but it's also an analysis kind of how Stephen King writes, and how it's kind of teaching you how to write. It's a really interesting book, and Stephen King, you wouldn't expect it exactly, but he's really funny. I haven't read any of his works before, even though I've wanted to for a long time now, so I'm glad I'm finally starting to read something. I really need to read Carrie and The Shining and all that good stuff. Horror. Upside down. Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. In this lovely old copy I got at a little bookstore a little further north from where I live, where my grandmother lives, and I've been wanting to read this book, I've been wanting to read Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass for a long time, and we did the play at my school, Through the Looking Glass, a little while ago. Apparently no one liked it, but I really kind of thought it was interesting, so excited to read that. And since I've been reading a lot of classics and kind of older stuff lately, or stuff that I've been forced to read, I decided I'd also read a little bit of modern stuff. We have The Throne of Fire and The Serpent's Shadow, both by Rick Riordan, the second and third books in the Kane Chronicles trilogy. Rick Riordan also wrote Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus series, so this series is about Egyptian mythology. And in other Rick Riordan news, The Mark of Athena comes out, I think, this month. I haven't really been paying attention, but my sister's like, Mark of Athena, oh my god! So I'm really excited that that's coming out, and I can't wait to read it. Rick Riordan writes in a very basic modern English style, which I think is really interesting, but he still throws in all this Greek mythology. It's fascinating. I really like reading his work. So that is what I will be reading this month. Hopefully I can get through all these books. I have a lot of schoolwork to do. I should actually go work on homework right now. But I don't want to. I just want to sit and watch Teen Titans. I have a problem. Friend me on Goodreads, because I have a Goodreads account, if you didn't know, so you can see what I'm reading, see if I'm actually keeping up with the books I'm supposed to be reading. Don't forget to follow me on Tumblr, Stars and Superheroes, that is my URL, and follow me on Twitter as well. I have 3 followers, and I don't think any of them watch my videos. And if I had more followers, I'd probably update my Twitter more often. Yeah. So just thanks for watching my videos, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the links below in the description. I will see you later.